everybody, it's me, Darth Mikey ASMR. Tonight, I thought it would be a fun time if we tapped on some random books that I have in my bedroom, and perhaps I'll read a little bit from each one to you. These are just random books that I've had for a few years, and they're just sitting around collecting dust because I hate reading. I hate it. Okay, I'm more of a visual person, and books kind of bore me to death. But tonight, since I'm feeling energetic, it would be a great idea to get myself ready for bed by reading. So there'll be some nice tapping on these different books that have different covers. We have paperback, we have hardcover, and we have some pamphlet-esque books. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do some nice tapping on them, and I'll show you real quick what 4 books we'll be tapping and reading from. First, we have Prominent Greeks of Antiquity. It's a nice paperback book, so we can take some time to learn a bit about prominent Greeks from thousands of years ago in ancient Greece. Does not sound nice. So this book will be talking to us about the lives and work of different philosophers, statesmen, artists, orators, poets, playwrights, and historians. Historians. Okay, that's book number 1. Book number 2 is A Work in Progress, a memoir by Connor Franta. If you do remember who Connor Franta is, he was my favorite YouTuber back in the day. So when he came out with a memoir, I had to buy it. And this is the only book outside of school that I've ever read in its entirety, from start to finish, which is kind of embarrassing. But it's just not a vibe to sit there and read. I apologize. If you love to read, that's good for you. I'm so proud. This one has a bit of a different texture as well to the other book. It's a little bit rougher. Anyways, the back of the book says, I'm just a small town kid trying to figure out my place in the big wide world. I've only been around for 22 years, and there's so much left for me to explore and learn. That's nice. The third book is a nice thin Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace art book. So we can look through the pictures in the book, and we can see some of the early concept designs. There's Jar Jar Binks. Love him. We always have to include something Star Wars in each of the videos. It's just what has to be done. This one's a bit stickier. Okay. And the final book is once again Greek themed, but it's the only hardcover book I have in my room. And that's a Greek to English dictionary. See, this one sounds a bit heavier and clunkier. I speak 5 languages and a few others at a beginner level. I love learning languages, so if you'd like me to do videos in different languages, like Spanish trigger words or Portuguese trigger words, French trigger words, Greek books that we're going to be tapping on and reading from tonight. I hope you'll enjoy it. Just sit back, relax. Let's get started with the prominent Greeks of antiquity. I think this might be my favorite one. It sounds a little bit like raindrops on roof tiles. Let's see what it says. Let's just flip to a random page. Oh, okay, we ended up on the lesbian-themed page. We're going to read about Sappho, who lived from 640 BC to 568 BC. Here's a picture of her. There she is. There's Sappho. 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 Some famous quotes from Sappho include, "A handsome man is handsome so long as he stands before you, but a kind man remains comely later and forever." Interesting. A little bio about her. It says, the most famous female lyric poet of the ancient Greek world, and possibly the first woman poet in the world. Liveliness, intense emotion, passion, and eroticism distinguish her poetry. A couple more famous quotes from her are, "Wealth without virtue is no safe neighbor. When the soul is disturbed by rage, 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 rage. Guard yourself from a garrulous tongue." That's a good one. Remember that one. Very interesting. Let's flip to one more before we move on to the next book. Okay, here we have of Mytilene. Pittacus, 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 Pittacus. This was the original Voldemort. He was the Voldemort of ancient Greece, if you'll notice. It's an uncanny resemblance. He lived from 648 to 569 BC. He was a model of prudence and a political figure distinguished for his reason, wisdom, and political honesty. He granted freedom even to the murderer of his son, arguing that forgiveness is better than regret. His considerable political abilities are confirmed by a number of laws, including the one that stipulated a double penalty for any offense committed while intoxicated. Damn, don't drink around this guy. Some famous quotes by Pittacus of Mytilene include, "Beware of the unethical. Power reveals the man. Do not beautify your appearance, but in your works be good." Well said, Pittacus. It's getting warm in my room. I'm sweating, so please ignore it. Next book is A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. and sugar. There's no hazelnut to be found. That's just a fact. Our lives are never offline, and we're permanently locked in. One foot in the moment, one foot somewhere else entirely. In this cyber reality, one in which we can now wear and carry our computers at all times, it's difficult to get caught up in the bubble of likes, thumb ups, ratings, comments, and general internet chatter. And therein lies the trap for our self-esteem, the trap that awaits us all, the importance of being liked. Wow, that's deep. Okay, the next book is going to be probably my favorite one that I own because it's mainly pictures and it's about Star Wars. I love this. Here we have a Naboo starfighter. I believe it's the N1 Naboo starfighter. One of my favorite ships in Star Wars. It's so classic and so sleek, and when it made a reappearance in the Mandalorian show, season 3, my mind was boggled, and I love it. Okay, let's flip to a couple of random pages and see what we find. All right, random page number 1. Would you look at that? How beautiful is that? Wow. Okay, let's see what they say on this page. It says, this is supposed to be Newt Gunray's troop inspection. Okay, the artwork is by Doug Chang. Surveying the captured Theed hangar. This is a production painting. The Trade Federation landing ship hangar on the eve of invasion. Conceptual design. When this sketch was drawn, George Lucas had yet to describe the scene, so Doug Chang began toying with some ideas of his own, and ultimately, this sketch evolved into a key production painting. According to Chang, this image demonstrates the design philosophy of Episode 1. Combine different textures and styles to create a timeless whole. The hangar's old stone architecture is contrasted against the chrome starfighters and all the usual technology of the Trade Federation. All these elements come together to create a fantastic, yet convincing, fictional reality. Beautiful. Alright, let's flip to another random page. Oh. The Gungans. You gotta love a Gungan. Let's see what it says here. It says, Gungan armor conceptual designs. For a short period of time, crab shell armor was considered for the Gungans. Ultimately, however, leather became the material of choice. Not only because Gungans are a primitive species, but also because it is easier to animate. By dressing the Gungans in tight-fitting leather and metal, the digital artists didn't have to animate the shifting and creasing that is characteristic of lighter materials. see the crab-like armor that was gonna be on them. But they ended up, well, not that exactly, but like the leather. I love the Gungans. I hate when people say that they don't like Jar Jar Binks and the Gungans. I love them. Alright. That was that. And now on to the final book, the hardcover Greek to English dictionary. This one sounds a bit more wood-like. Let's flip to a random page. Oh my god, I'm dripping sweat. Okay, let's flip to a random page and learn some words. Okay, the first word that we're gonna learn is how to say motivate in Greek. Okay, it says here, it is, I'm gonna have to read in Greek. Okay, that's not easy, so give me a second. I believe it says, Dino, kinitro, y elatirio se. That might be wrong. Let's try a different word, an easier word. Hold on. How about motive? It says kinitro or elatirio. I have no idea if this is right. If anybody out there speaks Greek, please let me know. Let's flip to a different page. How about evil? Evil. Kako. There's a lot of words. The alphabet is very difficult to read. Let's try to say excellent. Excellent would be exeretos. Exeretos. Or exojos. Maybe that's not right. What about excavation? Excavi. Scapsimo. Good Lord. What about, let's do one more. How about barrier reef? It says your barrier reef in Greek is coralliogenis ipsalos. I don't know. I might just be inventing words. I'm not sure. Noisy. Noisy is thori vodis. Thori vodis. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, everyone. That is it for the book tapping and reading. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite book was out of the 4. And let me know if you'd like me to do some ASMR in other languages. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment whatever you want to comment. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're feeling nice and relaxed. Good night. Sleep dreams. Sleep dreams, I said. Yeah, I think it's time for me to go to bed. Sweet dreams. And may the force be with you.